where we take some fun ideas, throw them together, and see if we can maybe get them to work. We're continuing to use new cards from the set Phantom Forces, but I've kind of run out of ideas for Bad Deck Monday. So, if you guys have any, please let me know down in the comments. I have run out of ideas that strictly use Phantom Forces cards, but I still have some good ideas, combining them with some older cards. So, let's just get right to the point. The main attacker of this deck is going to be actually a Pokemon I featured on Bad Deck Monday in the past, and that is Haxorus. He is back, folks. So before, I used to use Haxorus for its second attack, Strike of the Champion. The defending Pokemon is a Team Plasma Pokemon. It is knocked out. But if the defending Pokemon is not a Team Plasma Pokemon, this attack does nothing. So you can see this is a very specific attack that only knocks out a specific kind of Pokemon. But man, we really take it to those Team Plasma Pokemon. And actually Genesect EX is a Team Plasma Pokemon as well, so we can take care of a Plasma deck or a Genesect deck using Strike of the Champion. But that is not the point of this deck. We're not even going to focus on Strike of the Champion. We're going to focus on Haxorus' first attack. Huh? Yeah, Dragon Axe. For some reason that's just one word, Dragon Axe. But it does 40 damage times the amount of metal energy attached to this Pokemon. So, not honestly a very good attack, but if we get enough energy, it can get some one-hit knockouts, and that's what we're going for here. And this is kind of the spirit of Bad Deck Monday. It's not very good, but if we pull off some elaborate combo, oh, we're going to do some big damage. So we're going to run a 4-2-4 Haxorus line with 3 rare candy. Now, I cannot believe in this day and age that there is a basic Pokemon that only has 50 HP, but believe it, folks, Axew only has 50. They couldn't have at least given it 60 HP. What is going on here? Then we got 2 Fracture, Paralyzing Gaze, a Dragon Claw. It takes 2 different kind of energy. We don't really care about these cards too much, but Haxorus is where it's at. Now, of course, in order to use Dragon Axe effectively, we're going to have to use Bronzong. So Bronzong has Metal Links. Once during your turn, you may attach a Metal Energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. So that's the idea here. Use Metal Links to power up Gigantic Haxorus and get one-hit knockouts if we can. So this is going to be very difficult to pull off. You know, you expect to face Pokemon EX, which have 170 or 180 HP, and Dragon Axe does 40 times the amount of Metal Energy. So if we just do some math here, even 4 Metal Energy, which is a lot, that's 4 energy. That's 160 damage. So this is not going to be easy. If we do manage to get 5 energy, we can do 200, which is good. But in order to make it a little easier, we will run a couple Muscle Band here. 4 energy plus a Muscle Band is 180. So that's going to be the idea there. Alright, so that's really it. This is our main thing of the deck. 4-4 Bronzong, 4-2-4 Haxorus. We're going to try to get the job done this way. We got some other Pokemon in here as well, just kind of fill out the deck. We have 1 Cobalion, Energy Press, and Iron Breaker. Probably not going to use him very often, but he's a pretty solid HP Pokemon we can throw out there as a wall as we're setting up our other Pokemon. Same goes for Heatran, 130 HP, has Steel Drop, does 40 plus 40 if there's a stadium in play, and then also Steam Blast, 130 damage, and you have to discard an energy. So not the greatest card in the world, but again, 130 HP, basic, non-EX, can stall for some time, perhaps attack sometimes. Now, since Metal Links only goes to the benched Pokemon, we will be running Keldeo EX. This will allow us to rush in, and then Metal Links to a Pokemon on the bench, and then with a Float Stone, we can retreat for free. Pretty simple. Combo's been around for a while now. And our final Pokemon is Jirachi EX. This is going to be a pretty clunky deck most of the time, so we want that Jirachi EX in case we draw kind of a dud of a hand, but we manage to have an Ultra Ball to find a Jirachi, which turns into a supporter, and the game is saved. I know a lot of people hate this card because it gives up 2 prizes, only 90 HP, but I think it is worth it. The rest of the cards we have in here for Professor Juniper for N, then 2 Chorus. Gonna have a Skyla, why not? A Lysander, and then 2 VS Seeker, and then Computer Search as the A-Spec card. We got a Startling Megaphone in case of Garbodor. That probably won't help enough to get us a win, but you know, we'll put it in there anyway. 9 Metal Energy, and then 1 Fighting Energy. So we will be running 1 Fighting Energy just in case we want to use Strike of the Champion, because, man, that is such an epic attack. Alright, so here we have it. Haxorus Bronzong. Boy, it's going to be a pain to set this deck up. It's not like last few formats where we had that tropical beach to rely on. You know, you set up, draw a bunch of cards. This is going to be a very slow-moving deck. We don't have Level Ball anymore. Setting up Stage 2 Pokemon is so difficult, especially alongside a Stage 1. But hey, it's Bad Deck Monday. Let's give it a shot. So here we go. Going up against Saxy Man 92. This should be a good one, folks. And I'm going to begin with my Axew. Throw him out there. And I also have a Bronzor. So this is not a good opening hand, as you can see here. But hey, Jirachi. Now this is a decent hand. I'll take it. Alright, so let's go with the Stellar Guidance and search for a supporter card. I could do Juniper, but I think I'm just going to go N. Don't really feel like discarding a Haxorus right off the bat, so we'll just play an N. And we get a couple more Axew we can throw down on the board. So pretty strong. Turn 1, got a lot of basics down. Would have liked another Bronzor, but I will not complain because my opening hand was way worse. So alright, looks like we're going up against a metal deck, pretty standard looking one, you know, probably Aegislash, Dialga EX, maybe a Cobalion EX, but certainly Bronzong. Those are things we can expect to see here. So I don't know how this goes. Obviously, Dialga EX is a much more efficient attacker than Haxorus is. But beyond that, I really don't know. If we can manage to get Haxorus all powered up, get enough Bronzong in play, perhaps we'll have a chance. I guess. Let us begin with the computer search, which will grab me a Haxorus. So we are going to have a pretty decent start here. Turn to Haxorus. Gonna get a Bronzor down on the board. And hey, why not a Fracture as well? Not bad at all. I will attach that second energy and go for the Dragon Axe for 80 damage. Take that Aegislash EX. Aegislash going to be pretty worthless in this matchup. I don't play special energy, and its attack is not as strong as something like Dialga EX would be. So I'm not really worried about Aegislash. This is actually pretty strong turn 2. We could follow that up with a turn 3 Dragon Axe for 120, and hey, that works for me. Get a knockout, but never mind. There's a Max Potion healing off that Aegislash. Boo, Max Potion. Alright, so now it's going to make things a little more difficult. And ooh, a Chorus for 9 from my opponent. Somehow I have put 3N into my discard pile by the second turn. That wasn't very good. And I'm probably going to play my 4th one next turn, but thank goodness VS Seeker is around. We can use it later. Alright, that Dialga EX is getting all pumped up and ready to go. I could attach to the active and Dragon Axe for a little more, but I think the writing is on the wall for the active Haxorus, and it's time to start powering up another one. So we got the Haxorus on the bench, the Haxorus in the active position, and we'll go ahead and start hacking away at Aegislash again with the Dragon Axe for 80 damage. Not overwhelming damage output, but setting him up to knock him down perhaps next turn. Now that Dialga EX on the bench is getting a little scary. He has 4 energy now. And we see a Skyla, so there's probably going to be some bad news. Indeed, there is a switch. So here comes Dialga EX, and yeah, this is not going to be pretty at all. And oh, another max potion. Beautiful. And there's the full metal impact. That's going to do a lot of damage. And goodbye, Haxorus number 1. Alright, now I got to figure out who to promote in this situation. If I promote Jirachi EX and I miss a Floatstone, that could be some very, very bad news. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to promote a Bronzor. You know, if I whiff a way to retreat him, not the end of the world. Alright, let's go with the Ultra Ball. And I got an Ultra Ball. I'm going to discard the Heatran, not EX, regular Heatran. And let's Ultra Ball for a Bronzong. And 2 Bronzong are prized. This is going to be ugly. Not going to be a pretty game, folks. But let's try to work with it via Seeker. We got 4 N in there. But let's just go ahead and get another N going. And let's Metal Links. Go ahead and drop energy onto the benched Haxorus. And again, we're in that awkward spot where I want a Dragon Axe. But if I do it for 120, then if I commit all my energy to that Haxorus and it gets knocked out, then I don't really have a backup, and it could easily get knocked out. But hey, let's go for it. Dragon Axe for 80 damage. We seem to be doing a consistent 80 damage. So if there were an award for doing 80 damage consistently, we would win that award. Hands down, we've done it all game long. Starting from turn 2, pretty impressive, if I say so myself. Now I see another big chorus from my opponent for 9 cards, so I wouldn't be surprised if I got knocked out again here. Could easily see another full metal impact. And there is a Dialga EX on the bench getting powered up, though. I'm not really sure what's going on there. My opponent could retreat and full metal impact to get the knockout. That's certainly a possibility. I guess didn't want to attack with the active. Could have got knocked out by another Haxorus. Oh, we see a max potion. That's strange. I think my opponent could have retreated there. Dialga EX only has a 2 retreat cost. So perhaps a mistake from the opponent. I don't know. Maybe he just wants to buy some time, power up some more Pokemon, and go from there. Maybe didn't want to commit himself to having just a Dialga EX with a double colorless in the active spot. That could be a theory, I don't know. But gonna see a pass from my opponent for the turn. And I get my own big old chorus for 9, and we can get a rare candy and a Haxorus off of that. And now, alright, we're still in an awkward territory. We don't have nearly enough energy to knock out this Dialga EX in one hit. And I'm kind of starting to wish I was playing Switch in this deck so I could pull off a sweet retreat and Switch kind of play. But, yeah, it's not happening. But, alright, we're going to power up the Haxorus on the bench and go for the Dragon Axe for 80 damage. Boom. And I still have no idea what to do. This is way more difficult to get one-hit knockouts than I thought. Turns out getting 4 energy is not an easy feat. Go figure. Even when you have something that gets 2 energy back every turn. Anyway, my opponent continues to power up the Dialga EX on the bench. Looks like maybe leaving the active one left for dead here. Not really sure why, but ooh, we see a Lysander's trump card. Oh, so we see a bunch of metal energy getting shuffled in. Actually, a lot of my stuff gets shuffled back in, and so it's stuff I don't mind having back. All 4 of my N are back in the deck. All right. We can start using those again. And yeah, a very curious decision there. You can see the downsides of the trump card there. Opponent recovering 3 max potion. Very big. Certainly, if my opponent played 3 more max potion this game, I would go insane. Seeing 6 max potions and so much of my 80 damage being healed off, but just a weird thing. I don't know what to make of that. Let's see where this goes. So I'm going to play an Ultra Ball, discarding 2 Ultra Balls, the famous triple Ultra Ball play. And let's grab a Heatran. I'm just looking for something to discard because I'm going to go right for the big old Juniper. And I was hoping to just draw an energy or a metal energy or a muscle band, both of which I would have been able to knock out the active Dialga EX with my active Haxorus. But now I'm going to have to do an awkward backpedal retreat into the benched Haxorus, and then Dragon Axe for 120. Putting that one in harm's way. But you know what? This doesn't seem like a very bad situation by any means. You know, I have to burn the 2 to retreat, but we can just use Metal Links. Get those 2 Metal Energy back on the board, and I'm going to attach that Fighting Energy. I cannot see myself using Strike of the Champion, so let's just put the Fighting Energy on a Drachi, a 1 retreater, who can then just be promoted in case I don't have a Float Stone. So that Fighting Energy is not going to be useful anywhere else. Alright, we do see a Lysander, and looks like poor Jirachi. He's just being targeted down right away. There's the full Metal Impact, but, you know, I gotta wonder if that was the right choice. Now you've left the beast, the Haxorus, ready to go on the bench with 3 energy. And I'm going to promote the Bronzong with the Float Stone here. And let's Ultra Ball, discarding a Metal Energy and a Rare Candy. Let's grab another Bronzor and drop the Startling Megaphone. Let's Chorus for 9. I just needed a Metal Energy for the knockout. We got the Computer Search. Wow, I get to Computer Search twice in a game. That's pretty sweet. But now we can start pulling off some pro plays, baby. That's Computer Search. We can discard that Metal Energy and discard the N. We're going to grab a Muscle Band with the Computer Search. And all of a sudden, we got some crazy stuff going on. We got 1 Haxorus with 4 Metal Energy, and bam, a Muscle Band. And another one on the bench with 3 energy. And, in a strange turn of events, Haxorus is now ripping through my opponent, and it almost seems like I can't lose. What in the world just happened here in the course of a few turns? We were getting wrecked the first few turns. The max potions healing off our constant 80 damage. That was devastating. But now, just a turn or 2 of my opponent not doing anything gives me all the time to beef up the Haxorus. And I don't know what to make of this. I don't think I can lose anymore. Especially with that Professor Sycamore, I don't think I can lose anymore unless we see a red card or something silly like that. The active Haxorus isn't even going to be knocked out. Yeah, just a Righteous Edge for 30. Very strange to see. After powerful turns from my opponent, we see... My opponent says, GG, I actually don't win quite yet. I need a Muscle Band or a Metal Energy, but we're going to get it. And, I don't know what to say. We just won with Haxorus Bronzong. Dragon Axe, 200 damage. We managed to pile 5 energy on that thing, and we had another one waiting in the wings with 3 more energy. What a silly game. We have 3 Bronzong and 3 Haxorus in play to end that game. Sometimes I just don't know, folks. I just don't understand how the Pokemon TCG works sometimes when you have 8 energy in play and 3 Haxorus. But hey, I'll take it. I'll take the win. And sometimes Bad Deck Monday works. I don't know what else to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I will see you guys next time.